Kylian Mbappe potentially joining Real Madrid. So before we jump into the details of the transfer, I just wanted to get your thoughts on Ellis. What do you think this would mean for Mbappe? Do you think going to Real Madrid is the best move for him?
I think they're the biggest club in the world, really, aren't they? I think he's going to look at that. I mean, I think there's less risk for him to go to Real Madrid than to a Premier League team. I think, like, in terms of personal risk, I mean, he's one of the best players in the world at the moment. I don't think he'd have a problem in the Premier League. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I just think you go into Real Madrid and he's got to get bags of goals in the league, and they're always going to be challenging and up there for the Champions League. And you look at the squad that they've got. If you add that into the mix, and it's just ridiculous, really. Less personal risk to go to Real Madrid, and I think everyone, as a young kid like him, you look to Real Madrid and think that that's like the highest point you can really get to. You can't really get any higher than that.
What do you think, Simon? Do you agree?
Yeah, it makes sense for him to go there, wouldn't it? And I think he probably eventually will. But I mean, they say Liverpool as well have been linked with him, but we just couldn't afford his wages at all.
It's
not at
ridiculous,
because they'll be on 400-500 a week or something ridiculous like
that.
Yeah,
well, I mean, I know at PSG is practically one of the owners of the club, isn't he? So
it's just nuts. I mean, I think he does have a soft spot for Liverpool, because obviously French players, they tend to quite like Liverpool in terms of a club and stuff like that with
massive
the history.
European powerhouse.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe if Salah went this summer, I don't know. I think we'd have to sell one of our players just to free up some of the the money for the wages.
Space,
There's a question then. This summer, if Mbappe was available, would you sell Salah if it meant you could fund the Mbappe transfer?
Probably would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only if it was guaranteed, like he said, I will come to you.
Yeah.
But we'd have to do this, then yeah.
Wow, that's a big shout.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be the right decision.
Mbappe, he's brilliant. He's amazing.
And he's still only 24.
Superstar.
The Athletic reported last week Madrid have given a deadline of mid-January for Mbappe to decide if he wants to join them in the summer, so not in the January transfer window.
So that's like next week, isn't it?
Yeah, so Mbappe is in his final 6 months of his current contract with PSG, which means he can now legally negotiate with other teams. So it is looking like a strong possibility that it could happen. Yeah. And I think, obviously, maybe the Premier League has a little bit more pulling power in terms of everyone grows up watching the Premier League. But as you said, Ellis, Madrid are that big that it has a similar effect. Maybe not the rest of the league in comparison, but it still has a similar effect.
Yeah.
Do you think that if Mbappe was to join, given they've already got Vinicius Jr., they've got Bellingham as an attacking midfielder, Rodrigo as an attacking option, do you think that him joining Madrid would mean that they have the best attack in the world?
Well, I think any team with Mbappe on it has a shout for having the best attack in the world, because he's one of the best attackers, if not the best attacker in the world. So I just think if he joined Liverpool, you could say that they have the best attack in the world, realistically. Like, it's just that he's that good. So there'd have to be duds around him for it not to be, you know what I mean?
But it's weird as well, because they've already got Vinicius Jr., who is one of the best left wingers in the world, and Mbappe obviously can play as a striker, but does play off the left a lot. So is it really a necessary signing?
I think it's always been on the cards, hasn't it? So I'd be very surprised if it didn't go through, to be honest. Or if he did go somewhere else. I mean, who could afford him? Probably Man City could afford him as well.
Imagine if Man City had Haaland and Mbappe. That'd be ridiculous.
That'd actually be a bit of a joke, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And do you think there's a possibility? Because I actually have a sneaky feeling, right? Obviously, Mbappe has been tearing it up for PSG for years now, and did when he was really young at Monaco as well. He's always done well for France, but France have had the best international team for years now. Do you not think there's a bit of a possibility that should Mbappe go to Real Madrid, or I think this is even more the case if he was to go to a Premier League side, that he drops off a little bit? That maybe he doesn't do quite as well as he has done at PSG?
I don't know. I think he'll still tear it up wherever he goes, to be honest. I think it's more of a challenge. If he came to Liverpool, I think it'd be more of a challenge for him if we went on to win the league or Champions League. I think it'd be a bigger feat, so to speak, than if he just went to Madrid and won La Liga and in the Champions League. So if he wants that, if he wants a bigger challenge, because he's been PSG for 5 years now, 4 years, and it's not really a challenge there, is it? He's just taking the money basically, but I'd like to think if you came to Liverpool, you'd come for the challenge. If you go to Madrid, you kind of, you're going to win La Liga, aren't you, or Champions League at least. So,
yeah. What do you think, Ellis? Do you think he'd do as well as he has in France if he went to a different country?
Yeah, I think he would in La Liga, definitely. I mean, obviously La Liga is a lot better, but I still think, I agree with Simon, it's more of a challenge to come to the Premier League. But the thing is, if you go anywhere that's not Real Madrid, there's always like you could still go a step up. But that's why you might look at Real Madrid, and regardless of personal challenges or personal conquest, then that is the peak.
Yeah, it's like Real Madrid is end game.
Realistically,
yeah, because I think it's like Haaland in a couple of years will probably go to Madrid. He'll fancy that as well.
Yeah, I don't know though. Like, obviously Madrid have been unbelievable forever. Like they are the biggest team in the world, but I feel like the Premier League is slowly getting more and more of that pull. That's what I mean. Like
La Liga's not the best league in the world.
Yeah, La
anymore.
Liga isn't.
It's not.
Because Barcelona have dropped off a little bit. Atletico aren't as good as they were a couple of years ago as well. I mean, obviously you've got Girona doing really well at the minute, but I just think if I was a footballer right now and I wanted to challenge myself to the best of my abilities, I would go to the Premier League.
Premier League,
undoubtedly,
definitely. Yeah.
And if I was Mbappe, and he will believe that he is one of the best players in the world, and from everything we've seen, he is. Surely he'll want to challenge himself to that level.
He does seem like the player that would want to challenge himself because he's already rich, he's already won loads. If he's got that decision to make, you would just push yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Do it.
Yeah, do it.
I'd
Please
love to
come
see
to
it.
Liverpool. Please go on, do it. Please.
We'll give you Salah. We'll give you everything. Nah, I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it if he joined. And I don't think he's as necessary at Madrid as he would be at Liverpool. I think, as I said, Madrid have got an already unbelievable and really young attack that is going to continue to do as well as they are at the minute for many years to come. And Liverpool's is more like with Salah and the phase he's at in his career, and Núñez not hitting the heights yet. And I think that Diaz is particularly overrated.
I think it's the Diaz thing. I think because he's had his injury, and then obviously everything went on with his dad. He just doesn't seem the player he is when we first got him. So, say for instance, if we did sell him, get 40, 50 million or whatever, that would free up that space and money for it as well. But
so Mbappe, choose Liverpool over Madrid.
yes,
I beg,
please.
That's all we want in life.
Not fucking Man City.
Just not Newcastle.